Good evening, everyone. Well, what a day it's been. Our guest had to reschedule and Starship 13 shut down. We'll talk about that. It's kind of typical for this week, it seems, at least for me. But fear not, fans. Michael and I will be going over all of the pertinent news we can pack in with our usual wit, snark, and tomfoolery. And maybe something, again, about Starship 13. Did I mention that? From the news desk at the Center for Space Commerce and Finance, my name is Thomas Andrew Olson, and this is The Unknown Quantity. And as you know, this show is brought to you by the Center for Space Commerce and Finance. And what is the Center? Of course, you know, we champion and strengthen emerging space startups and space adjacent enterprises worldwide through advisory, access, and advocacy. Our legendary pitch events and world-class boot camps fortify startups to be better investor ready. Now, a lot of our work, especially this podcast, is supported by our listeners and fans like you. So just go to cscf.space/support and click that Plain State Donate button. A little in the tip jar each month makes a big difference. A lot in the tip jar makes an even bigger difference. And don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends. Speaking of friends, my longest space friend, Michael Lane, is with us. I think he ran all the way here. He's late getting out of a class or something, so he's all huffing and puffing. Come on in, Michael.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Was the coyote running with you? Or
Right. So much better than Monday. So much better.
Much better than Monday, where you did your bit from a parking lot.
From a parking lot.
That was quite the thing.
Live programming at its best, right?
Absolutely.
Shout out to Sean. Sean is alive and well and back doing what we love him to do, which is running this show and keeping us on our toes. So glad you're home, Sean. Glad everything's good. Absolutely. I'm glad to be sitting here.
You're glad to be sitting there too. Right. Well, also tonight, we got some early adopters here. I want to we got some new fans. I want to make a shout out to Veronica Ann. She's here tonight early, and she says the grandchildren are watching the show this evening. So Sean's going to have to clean it up.
Keep our language a little cleaner than usual. Nice to see you guys. Is it Zozo and JJ? Hey guys, glad to have y'all.
Okay.
All right. Where are we starting today?
Well, as I said, unfortunately, we don't have a guest tonight. He had to reschedule. And I had a bunch of news items that we've never gotten to over the last week even, and so I got to add them on to the list of the new stuff. I think we'll have more than enough to get us through tonight. So hopefully some of it will be interesting enough. Everybody will want to stick around. So
I want you to talk about Starship because I was in traffic. I didn't know any part of it. So it was on my screen all day long, and then I got out of class and I got in the car and my brain shifted. And so tell me what happened because I don't know.
I watched the whole thing. So when I was writing the script this evening, I was doing some other work. I had the thing on in the background for the last hour. You know, they do the countdowns, they do all the chit chat. So I can hear this. The count got to zero, went all the way to zero. And the thing started lighting up, and I saw the smoke go out the bottom. And then I was like, okay, it's going to lift off now. It's going to lift off now. All it just stopped. It just stopped. Now, the last time an American rocket did something like that, there were people in it. It was in history. It was called Gemini 6. With Wally Schirra and I think Tom Stafford, if I recall, and they were sitting there. Gemini 7 was already in orbit. They were on a 14-day mission. And I was Frank Borman and Jim Lovell. They were flying overhead, and they could see on the ground the rockets light up on Gemini 6, that Titan 2, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
then it just shut down, just sat there and shut down. And of course, everyone held their breath. These guys are on the abort handle. Is this thing going to blow up on us,
Right. Yeah, that would be
And it
bad.
didn't. It just shut down and sat there. And they all had moments of extreme heart failure, while this was going on. So I was so happy when I saw that. I haven't seen anything like that since 1965.
Right. Oh,
So
wow. Yeah.
effing old I am. Is that I saw that thing shut down. I was a kid myself, actually, but I've never seen that since. And so I was just, part of me is just so glad there were no people in there.
Right. Yeah. 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 Did they have, so what happened with 13?
We don't know.
Is it rescheduled?
Know yet.
Don't know
But
yet.
they got the word almost immediately from the computers and from the AIs and whatever that, we are aborting for today. We're scrubbing today. So they got to figure out what happened, because all the things that would trigger a hold, they got past all the way to the point of ignition. And it's interesting to know they have something that will shut it down at the point of ignition.
Right. Zero. Yeah. Yeah. Zero to me is launch.
We never had to know that.
Right. Yeah. No, zero to me means launch. This baby's ready to light on fire. But if you're a computer control system and the computer says no, you're not going anywhere. So
yeah, and that's probably the safest way to go, because they have a real payload this time. It's not a test payload. There were 20 Starlink satellites in there.
Yeah, they're not messing around.
So they're ready.
Good.
So I don't know if their intention was orbit, or they're just going to a high arc and spit them out, at the top of the arc, and they just keep going. I don't know. That part I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll check the news tomorrow and see what we know, and maybe tomorrow they're going to launch. Fingers crossed.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So that's Starship.
What's up? Well, there's got people are getting money again. What do they call it? The Space Development Agency awarded L3 Harris and Sierra Space contracts worth $1.75 billion to develop 36 satellites for missile warning, tracking, and targeting in support of Golden Dome.
Gotta love it when it's raining soup, bring buckets.
That's it. That's exactly it.
This isn't the first Golden Dome contract, but it's the biggest one that that crossed my radar. Is it the biggest one you know of?
That I do believe so. I believe so. I haven't seen much, because I haven't seen much of the Golden Dome. I've seen I keep expecting, because they got crap tons of money, and
a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Sorry,
and they haven't spent a lot of it on that yet.
Right.
And so that's the issue I have with this. I'm like, when are you going to start spending this? Well, there it is. Because there was a $600 billion extra that was being carved aside just for that, I believe, that number. Yeah. And so this is significant. That's real money. So,
well, yes, but it's also only $2 billion out of 600 billion.
It's not a lot. 1/3 of 1% so far has been spent. When you think of it that way, it's like,
no, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. I was in this class all day yesterday. So I went to a class Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Finished up this afternoon. And all of these teachers are there, and they're teaching grades. Most of them are middle school. There's a few high school teachers and a few early education teachers, but there's almost 30 people in the class. I was the only industry person. I was the only non-teacher there. It is surprising how little these teachers knew about space. They came in and we all learned how to build a CubeSat, which was super cool. And we went to some tours. We went to Blue Origin and did a glider and went to Starship. So that was really fun, but it surprised me how little they knew about space. And when I told them that there's just this enormous pile of money that's about to get spent, they were absolutely unaware. Absolutely no idea what was happening. It was kind of surprising, kind of a cool thing to be able to tell people that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So 1/3 of 1% is getting spent. Good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We're moving.
We're moving. All right. Well, what do we got here with Voyager? Because
I've got a couple of things with Voyager. I know
yeah.
they set up a maybe it's that first one. They set up some kind of, I know it's like a stash of 250 million or something to do something with, and there's this guy sitting there. They also news details are on our screen. Let's have one. There we go. That's it. They upsized 250 million credit facility. Still not sure what they're using that for. Just like are they making their own hedge fund?
Yeah, I mean, they're intentionally saying. I mean, they're intentionally being quiet, right? I'm reading the thing. The upsized facility expands Voyager's credit, financial flexibility, providing liquidity at scale. That's all they're saying. We just want to have more money in the bank in case we need it. Look, I talked to a JP Morgan guy a couple days ago, and everybody somebody super low on the totem pole at JP Morgan, not anybody in significant management roles, but everybody that can put money in the bank right now is trying to do it. Okay. Debt. This is the third or fourth time this year we've talked about big pieces of debt. Our industry was never able to get debt, but these publicly traded companies are now starting to pull in that kind of capital, right?
Because they can do it. They can do it. If you can pull in, it goes from seed, then it goes to equity, and then it goes to debt. Because if you're building something on a manufactured kind of scale, Avialto's doing this. You're getting that last chunk of equity, so you can build your factory.
Yeah.
But once you built the factory and you can sell product, then basically you're getting debt from then on. You don't have to sell any more equity to pay for your stuff, because you always go to an industrial bank of some kind and say, okay, I need a $6 million loan to build this, and then sell it to somebody.
Yeah.
And they'll say, sure, okay, no problem. Here you go. Good luck. And that's what's happening. That's what that message is about the industry as a whole. Because 25 years ago, we were like, we couldn't get seed capital. Forget debt. Are you kidding me?
Had our hand out is like, we'll work for space, right? We had
pretty much.
Right. A little cardboard sign saying we'll work for space. We'll do it. We'll wash your car, whatever it takes, whatever it takes. So yeah, I think it's awesome. $250 million from JP Morgan, right? JP Morgan's going to be is a multi-trillion dollars under asset management. So yeah. And we reported on JP Morgan at the end of last year how they were committing some giant number, like $100 billion in transactions over the next 5 years that was going to be focused on advanced tech. And so this is certainly part of that. So yeah, pretty neat stuff.
Okay. The other thing, and there's another thing about Voyager really quickly. They actually did two things in one. They completed their Astrobotic acquisition, and at the same time just got a $298 million contract from NASA for an agentic AI platform. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it in this article, but part of their Voyager acquisition of Astrobotic was they basically got all $300 million in cash from Voyager as part of their acquisition process.
Yeah. Here's the weird part, though, with this one, because they've been making good decisions, and they're really doing business-changing developments in the best way they can. Mm-hmm. So it seemed odd that the company's stock actually declined on Monday by 5%.
Yeah, what's with
after
that?
It published its Astrobotic NASA update. So neither news item was a huge revelation. They trumpeted their win at the end of June, and it was announced the beginning of that month. But I guess because it's still an early stage company, they have yet to post a net profit. That might have something to do with it. Their losses have been deepening from 25 million 3 years ago to 62 million the following year and 105 million last year. They're still running at a red line.
Is that because of the acquisitions, though, or is that hardware they're throwing into the
Some
sky?
of it, probably, I'm sure. Again, they're closing their upsized credit facility, and that's the most recent time it held out the hat. So,
but not equity. They're not asking for equity there. So
no, well, they did float an issue of convertible senior notes in November that was upsized to 435 million.
Oh, so that's not their only.
But the coupon on it is only like 0.75% per annum.
Okay.
But if many of those securities converted, the share dilution could be considerable.
Got it. Well, okay. That would maybe justify the price coming down.
Yeah,
a
I'm
little
bullish on them. I think they're
sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They're not. They haven't talked in a while about their space station, though. Like, I haven't heard zip about their station in months. That feels like maybe I wonder if something's going wrong that we don't know about.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Dylan's not going to say anything.
Pure speculation.
Absolutely. But that's what we love to do here. So there you go.
For sure.
Another company I hadn't really heard anything about has made money today.
Wait. We gotta shout out to Veronica for a second. She's like, okay, the boys rated G has left the room. You may resume adulting. So thanks for the green light there.
Okay.
Now let's just curse for the fun of it because we can. Sean's like, yeah.
Sean already is at it. Fuck yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I'm just gonna do a shout out to our podcast listeners. Y'all can't see this, but we got the one private chat that Sean's always talking to us about, and then we've got the public chat. And Veronica has always been a really great supporter of our show, and that's how all of this has been happening. But you on your podcast don't see any of that, so I just wanted to kind of let you know what was going on here. But
okay, and we should give a shout out to our listeners anyway, because they were of great help on Monday.
Yeah,
you couldn't put up a link, you couldn't put up anything. So our listeners are actually finding the links to our stories all on their own and posting them in the chat. And good for you guys. You just saved the day there. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, it's
so much.
It's a team effort, team sport, y'all. And thanks to everybody who's here. Wes is here, Morty's here today, a couple others. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Dysfunctional team at times. Sean says.
Yeah.
All right. More money for another company I haven't really heard much about.
Nope.
Revay Optics got a $6 million seed round to build compact laser terminal. I love me some lasers in space, so you know what?
Say it loud. Say it proud, brother. Preach.
That's right.
Yep. Yeah. And okay, there's a piece in here that's going to raise your blood pressure. Did you see this? The company was part of the 2026 Startup Space Competition at SAT Show Week. So why don't you take a moment to give the center a plug for a second, since we are the adults in the room running space competitions?
We do run space competitions. I mean, there's a lot of people that do them now, and there's a lot of people that that don't do them very well, quite frankly. And I still say we have the best track record.
Mm-hmm.
We're the oldest space pitch business plan competition around. We've been doing it since 2009.
How many dollars have we given away?
Well over 400,000 at this point, and that doesn't count the funding that some competition participants got through outside sources, just because people were in the room listening to their pitch and were interested in them, and we engineered a meeting, and wonderful things happened. Since then,
3 companies through our competitions are now publicly traded. 3 companies are publicly traded space efforts.
Yep.
Skyrora, Gravitics, and Spire. Like, nobody has that. So it's like, okay, good. Nice job, Ravi. We're not throwing you under a bus, and we're not even like throwing shade at these folks, these newcomers at SAT Show. But we are pretty good at this, and we'd love to do more of them. So,
well, we have introduced 98 companies now to the world since 2009, and 35% of them have gotten funding of some kind or another, whether from us directly or sponsors or third parties that were in the room. And so we have a track record that a lot of angel groups would like, to have.
All right, so let's talk about.
You're right, Sean. We need to capitalize on this. You're right.
Right. All right. So I don't know anything about Ravi Optics. Good for them. $6 million. Orbital data transport certainly is a key tech we've been talking about for years. It's necessary. So good for them. Congratulations on your $6 million.
Yep.
Anything else to say about Ravi?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
Good luck.
Okay. This one's a copy. I think we've already talked about this. L3 and Sierra Space. We can just skip that one. Somehow that ended up in there twice. Never mind. Let's see. No, I'm not accepting the cookies. This is from Ariane Space. Infinite Orbits and Ariane Space signed an MOU to advance European direct-to-geo launch capabilities. Sounds like more sovereign stuff to me. Yep, they want to go European direct-to-geo capability is what they're looking at.
I think these were one of those 14 companies that we talked about 2 months ago or so that were, winners of a pan-European program to get to orbit. So yeah, it's just more sovereign stuff. The stronger Blue and Rocket Lab and especially SpaceX become, the more demanding a requirement for the more Europe has a demanding requirement for sovereignty and launch. So we're going to see a whole bunch of that. There's 14 companies in that one tranche. There's probably going to be more on their way. So good job, ESA. Good job, Ariane Space. What it does surprise me a little bit, like Ariane, they don't come off as being like good partners to startup culture. What's your read on that? Because that's the thing that surprised me here.
Well, they like paying customers. They love paying customers. And you see, the thing is, technically, before SpaceX came along, really, piggyback ride sharing was about the only way for a startup to get up there and do any testing, because there's always a little room left over, and they got to balance the load. So they've, traditionally, kind of under the radar, always opened up that extra space to carry an extra payload for, pennies on the dollar, just to, because it's good for them. They don't even do it for the press,
right? On
that, they just do it because it's just a natural thing to do to balance the load. Well, now with actual competitors like Rocket Lab and SpaceX and companies like that, they don't seem as interested in doing those things anymore, because they got their own launchers over there. They can use those now. They don't need us. And so they look at maximizing, the big paying customer payloads.
Yep.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
No, I think you're right. I'll tell you a quick anecdote. I was over at Blue Origin as part of this class this week, and Teachers in Space is sponsored by Jeff Bezos's their teacher program. Their fund.
They got $1 million from Jeff Bezos. They were number 19. I should have been number 20, but I'm not bitter or anything.
I learned something about that. I was going to tell you. So remember they had the auction for the first of their Shepherd flights, and they had an auction, and somebody came in with a $28 million bid, a crypto guy. They took that first bid, $28 million, and split it up amongst 18 organizations, 19 organizations got $1 million each, and then one organization got 10 million, which I didn't know about then. But that's what they did. They took the first money from the first flight and divided it up. So I thought that was kind of cool. And those postcards that they launch through the Fund for the Future, that's what they use as ballast. So when other people are flying, other cargo, other payloads, they're using the postcards as their counterweight. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Okay, what do we got? Infinite orbits. Okay, now here's a weird one because it says Iridium completes the acquisition of Arion. I didn't think they were still acquiring things because isn't Iridium getting acquired right now?
Right. Yeah, exactly right. Shouldn't you maybe have done
the news, Michael? It must be true.
Yeah. Shouldn't y'all have finished that maybe a few weeks ago? Because I don't know anything about this, but I did chuckle a little bit. I'm just going to read directly. Announced today it has completed its acquisition of Arion, operator of the world's only space-based automatic dependent surveillance broadcast air traffic surveillance system.
Well, there you go.
I'm not even sure what that means.
But they wanted it, and they got it.
But they wanted it. Air traffic control from the sky, I guess. So as part of Iridium, Arion will continue operating as a wholly owned subsidiary focused on delivering industry-leading air traffic surveillance and aviation data services. So that's what we know about it. But who bought Iridium the other day? ... Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab. Yeah. So you'd think that maybe if your parent is getting bought, maybe you should consolidate this stuff a little sooner. But all right, good for them.
Yeah, it's like Orbital acquiring something after they've been acquired by Northrop Grumman.
Yeah. Yep. Paperwork needs to process.
Yeah. Well, we're about halfway. Yeah.
What is Dallas saying here? Which is why the Air Force back in the day sponsored ESPA rings. Sorry, I know that this is all true, but I don't know what Dallas is saying about it.
Okay.
And he's saying ADS-B is a system that tells others where your plane is. All right, well, that's useful.
Okay.
Good. So we'll let the Boeing guy tell us that there's a system out there telling us where a plane. Yeah, no, I got you. Typo.
Yeah, we got plane. We got that. Yeah.
We got that. Cool.
Although I sometimes do wonder where my plan is, and if there's a system that can tell me, that would be great.
I spent a lot of the day right next to Boeing's facility out here in Seattle, and I saw a bumper sticker that says, "If it's not Boeing, I'm not going." meaning if it's not a Boeing aircraft, they weren't going to get on the plane. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good propaganda. So, all right.
You should say that a long time ago. Can you see it now?
No, probably not.
Huh.
Probably not. Hey, Dallas, glad you're here. Yes, we know. ESPA rings were for the unused payload space on rockets. Yep.
That makes sense. There's more stuff up there.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've got that app that'll let me look, and I can find any spent booster that's still up there since 1982. If I can find it, why can't somebody go up there with a big hook and grab it?
Right. What's that app called? Skyroot, something like that?
Yeah, I think it's Skyview.
Skyview, yeah. It's a cool app. I've used it.
And if you get the pro version, it's only $2.99. That's half a latte at Starbucks. Come on,
right.
You could see it all. You could see Pluto.
All right, let's move on. We don't have a lot more news. Just for we got 6 more articles. So we got 10.
And we got 30 minutes.
30 minutes. All right. Just kind of keeping track on the clock. If other people want to toss in some comments or the questions in the chat, that would be great.
If you got some topics you want to throw in there, we got time tonight.
Tomfoolery. That's the name of the show today.
Yep. And Sean says you could bring me on. Well, that could be really great or really scary. What does he want to talk about? Sean, what do you want to talk about?
Sure. God, I didn't even see all of his chats. Holy cow, guy.
I know there's a lot of it. Okay.
All right. Sean, what do you want to talk about, man? All right, we're going to move on to the next program while he gets his sort of.
Well, this is a quick one. Speaking of Pluto, guess what? The New Horizons was in hibernation for a long time, and it just woke up. They're in hibernation for about a year. But they're not the most farthest thing that we've ever sent. Obviously, the Pioneers and the Voyagers ahead of it, but it's probably one of the more sophisticated things. And I guess they're turning it back on because they're in the middle of the Kuiper Belt, and maybe they want to find some stuff that the previous probes probably didn't notice. I'm hoping.
Neat.
But that was a very expensive and very sophisticated probe. It'd be nice if they could use it for something more than just the Pluto flyby.
Right. Since we're in the neighborhood, might as well take a look around.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all I had to say about that. I don't know. Does anybody else have
I don't usually pay attention to a lot of astronomy stuff. So I find myself surprised when I see it. That's cool. Neat that. All right. What's up at the Guardian? I'm like, why did we send a Guardian article? Oh, right. All right. So I thought this was just charming, right? Like this is not the stuff we normally talk about. We started the show with $1.7 billion from Golden Dome money, and we moved over to $250 million for credit for. But I'm like, okay, Buzz Aldrin's pen goes for $850,000. Just let that sink in for a second.
Yeah, and I know why. It's the pen that saved the mission.
Right.
Remember when they landed, we're shutting stuff down. A very key switch broke. It snapped off.
Yep.
And without engaging that switch again, you couldn't arm the rocket and turn it on and launch. And so he had this pen, and he stuck it in there. He managed to jiggle it in there and hold it up and actually get the switch on. And he held it there until Neil Armstrong fired up the engine so they can get out of there.
Yeah.
That's why it's worth $850,000 today.
Right,
it wasn't a Sharpie he was using to make notes to himself.
Right. The whole mission depended on that thing. I'm just going to read his quote from his Aldrin's Magnificent Desolation book. Quote, "My heart jolted a bit. The broken switch had snapped off from the engine arm circuit breaker, the one vital breaker needed to send electrical power to the ascent engine that would lift Neil and me off the moon. Like, okay, that's a pretty great pen.
I know, but you know what? In the very next paragraph, he says they point fingers at each other. I thought Neil did it, and he broke the switch. He thought I did it, and they must have had that conversation to the end of their days.
Last, yeah. Yeah. In the end, this is another quote. In the end, what mattered most was that we had figured out how to solve the problem of the broken switch so that we could leave the lunar surface and get back home. That's pretty remarkable. So they don't say who bought it. They don't say who got the pen, but good for them. And that would be a treasured asset, especially with like full provenance from Aldrin directly. So
yeah.
Thanks, Dr. Buzz. Appreciate it. All right. Anything else on that one?
No.
All right. It is a cool looking pen. I mean,
yeah. It's an interesting piece of history.
Yeah. He also had a bunch of watches in the same auction that went for between 40 and 60,000 a piece. So Buzz is loaded up right now. Good for him. All right.
Okay.
What do we got?
AST. Okay. Listen, we're back in the billions. AST Space Mobile is raising $1 billion in part for deal making.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to do. They're doing it. They're raising it via debt, later eligible to be turned into stock or cash, or potential acquisitions or partnerships. So, and they'll use some proceeds for financial actions to offset the debt sale. That's all I got on that. Yeah.
That's exactly what the guy from the guy who used to work at JP Morgan was saying, is that if you can raise cash and put it in the bank, now is the time, because there's so much of it. And again, a publicly traded company trying to shore up their reserves. Now, what I was curious about, because this is for potential acquisitions and partnerships, who are they thinking about? What are they looking at? If you got $1 billion in the bank, like, you can buy an awful lot of capability with $1 billion of dry powder. So I wonder what that's about. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna skip the next one because it's redundant again. But the one after something we could probably chew on for the rest of the show.
Sure.
It's called it's something on Ars Technica. It's called "How Hard Is It to Build Orbital Data Centers?" Actually.
Yeah. How many data center companies have we had on this show? 1, 2, 3, 4, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
We haven't had anyone from SpaceX on the show yet. I'm hoping someday.
I'm going to toss something in there that's not in our news, but I saw an article yesterday, day before, that an organization, I'm sorry, I can't remember who it is, but an organization is petitioning to the EPA to stop the FCC, FAA, to stop data centers from going into the sky until a complete environmental impact assessment has been done.
Okay. Well,
that is brand new, and they haven't had a ruling on it, but they got press out of the idea that says we need to do environmental impact studies of all the stuff that's going into the sky. That's the first time I've seen that. I was pretty freaked out about that.
They didn't mention the orbiting mirrors that we talked about.
They didn't. No, they
just the other day.
Right. Yeah. That one I would think would deserve
that's
environmental impact.
Light pollution.
Yeah. No, this was direct. And I wondered about that. Like, why wouldn't they think about the environment of Leo? But no, they're specifically we're going after data centers. They're specifically going after SpaceX and 1 million data satellites specifically. But yeah, how hard is this? Let's go back to Ars Technica and Eric Berger. Yeah, I don't have an answer to that, but yeah, SpaceX has pinned the bulk of their future value on orbital data centers, not rockets and not spacecraft. That's the first line of the article. It's a good article.
But then Elon says in some video, reflecting on the challenge of it all, is that he's saying a lot of the technology they've already made for Starlink V3. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's a super hard problem.
Right.
But it sparked a broad debate about the near-term viability of this technology, both in terms of feasibility and whether it's all hype. The SpaceX is a publicly traded company now.
Yeah. I mean, they're saying no big deal, right? I mean, their application is for 1 million satellites. Gwen Shotwell reduced it down to 100,000 to start, and that seems probably pretty realistic. You know, one is their hype machine, and the other is their let's just focus on what's in front of us, right? You know, the difference between Shotwell and Musk, but yeah, it doesn't seem super hard. Like everybody that we talked to, you know, we talked about this 9 months ago and 6 months ago and 3 months ago and a year ago. People were like, it can't be done, it's too hard, the thermal problems are too big. And now if you take SpaceX's word for it, it's a done deal. Like what's the problem? So well, I don't have the math for it then. I didn't.
It is a long article. I don't want to go TLDR on this, but it's still. But we can break it down to 3 points. You've got an optimistic, a neutral, and a pessimistic point of view on this. Right. Mostly because of the heat. The optimistic view is that the Starship payload capacity of 200 metric tons, the AI-1 satellite mass of 3.5 tons, and the launch cost of $20 million, and it's supposed to put out, this big, solar farm. It's about the size of 1.5 basketball courts. So, okay. The neutral view is a Starship payload capacity of 150 metric tons and AI-1 satellite mass of 5.5 tons and a launch cost of $50 million. The downer point of view, the Debbie Downer view is that Starship payload capacity ends up only being 100 metric tons and the satellite mass is 7.5 and the launch cost is $100 million. And each of these satellites is supposed to last for 7 years.
Say that last part again. You cut out. What's about?
I'm sorry. The SpaceX likely plans for each satellite to last only 5 to 7 years before they move it to a heliocentric disposal orbit or burn it up in the atmosphere. A 5-year lifetime, putting a 1 million satellite constellation into orbit and then replenishing it. And I know we've mentioned this. That would be thousands of launches per year.
Right. We've talked about that a bunch. The multiple launch sites, multiple launch facilities, many launches a day. Right.
Yep. Right. The optimistic view, it's only 17,500 total launches. That's the optimistic view. The neutral view, 37,000 launches, and the pessimistic view, 77,000 total launches. But you have to do 15,000 per year to keep up with it.
Yikes.
All this so an AI can track what you eat for dinner and how much gas you burn and then tell you not to do it.
Right. These are crazy numbers, right? It's just kind of boggling just see them written down like this. But we haven't talked about it much on the show yet, but SpaceX has officially stopped selling rocket launches in 2029. They're not selling them on the Falcon anymore. So They'll finish out the inventory that they've got. Nobody's getting turned away, but they're officially not accepting new clients, which is kind of an existential crisis for an awful lot of companies that built their other businesses on the backbone of the SpaceX launch capacity. And this is why, right? This is why they are full if they have to do 15,000, 17,000, 37,000 launches.
Right. And right now they are, in fact, building their launch facility at the Cape. That at KSC, they are building something. They're renovating an old pad, but they're only going to launch Starships and Falcon Heavies from it.
Right. What do you think the world looks like if this is the quote from Eric? Even in the best case scenario, that's 10 launches a day. Worst case is 42 launches a day. That's not counting China. That's not counting Rocket Lab. That's not counting Blue Origin or any of the European companies coming online. That's not counting India or Asia. What does the world look like if you're launching 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 100 launches a day?
Well,
because I've never imagined that.
What is that upper limit whereby there's so much space junk that you just can't punch through it anymore?
Right? Yeah.
What is that called? It begins with a K, I think.
The Kessler syndrome breaks apart. Kessler syndrome?
Yeah, something like that. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You're going to approach that, and these are working satellites. But you put that many up there, sooner or later, things they're going to bang into each other.
Right. Do you remember that movie Gattaca? And they were doing all this genetic. So you would see these launches like clockwork about every 2 hours launching in the background of that movie. And I'm like, that's the dumbest thing in science fiction. I love that movie, but that's the dumbest thing in science fiction, the idea that we're launching every 2 hours. And these predictions with these data centers, that's on the low side.
Well, you know what, though? When Gattaca was made, that was probably considered really high end. It'd take us forever to get to a launch every 2 hours.
Yeah.
That was their view. So,
Yeah.
A lot of things you just can't guess until it's too late.
Right. No, it's pretty cool. All right, let's take a look at some of our comments here because we got a bunch. Of course, Morty's like, we need space elevators.
We need space elevators. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Joe is like 15,000 launches. What's the problem? 42 a day. This one's cool from Dallas. If you watch the SpaceX Critical Path video, they say Pad 2 is designed for a launch an hour forever. Mm-hmm. Let that sink in for a second. One launch pad dedicated to hourly missions. That's the world that we have been dreaming about since we were little kids. So
yeah.
All right. We
don't know what long-term environmental effect. If you're launching that many rockets every day or even more, right? Do we end up clouding things up so much we get global cooling?
I don't think that's how it works, Tom. Just saying.
The Sierra Club's gonna have to shut up for a while, because it's not.
Yeah, I don't.
Because nothing's warming up.
Right. I don't think that's how it works exactly. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Well, you see a business cleaning up messes like the movie Space Sweepers. Those businesses are going to have to exist. They're going to have to be necessary. There's going to be a dozen of them competing.
I'm counting on
recycle the junk.
We talked about that a couple weeks ago, and that guest that we had on a couple weeks before that about just, and I'm being sarcastic, but vacuuming up the vacuum, pulling in all the debris, turning it into a scrap yard, and then melting it down to slag. So I'm excited for that business.
Yeah.
Yeah, Venus. Yeah, we'll just move it all to Venus. All right, we got 10 minutes left. You want to keep on this topic, or you want to move to the last ones, or what do you want to do?
It's up to everybody. We can keep on this topic. I've only got two more, and they're more. Well, one actually, I was going to save it for the end, but I want to put this through because I think it's going to be very important for future space settlements. I think it's going to be very helpful. It's going to be helpful to people on Earth. It might even be helpful to me one day. So kidney and liver tissue was bioprinted off the Earth for the first time.
Neat.
And I was like, the ability to manufacture multiple tissue types alongside each other is clinically relevant medical products. Highlights the versatility and scalability of the technology you're using. It's called Auxilium Biotechnologies, and they make something they call the AMP1 orbital bioprinter. And I am just excited about the possibilities of something like that.
Huh. Isn't that our guest from last week, Dr. Massa? Isn't that kind of what she was talking about?
Yes.
Lab on the chip.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That biotech. That's cool. I didn't think we were that close to that, actually.
Well, I'm loving it because that's another aspect of the singularity. We don't have to like interface with our machinery, but another aspect to that, it's kind of a breakthrough in longevity in that we're reaching a point where one day soon, before mid-century probably, the average life expectancy is going to go up 2 years for every year you live.
I believe that for sure.
And it's things like that lead the way and that get me all excited.
Yeah.
I'm still planning that 150th birthday party. So put that in your calendar, man.
My dad was
Ulaanbaatar.
I told my dad when I turned 31 that I planned to live to 125, and he just started laughing at me. But I don't think that's crazy. I don't. All right, so they're bioprinting organs.
Yep.
Is the first. I'm just going to read it. Their AMP1 bioprinter is the first tool that has produced multiple types of tissue in space, as well as the first to make kidney and liver tissue in the final frontier. God dang, that is cool stuff. Yeah, that is cool stuff.
Because we've been talking about regenerative medicine for 25 years, and we're finally seeing some.
Yeah.
That's going to be vitally important for future space settlers, because it's going to be a moneymaker. You're right, Sean. It's going to be a moneymaker hugely, but there won't be a lot of fancy hospitals, specialty hospitals you can send somebody to if they have some horrifying accident on Mars or the moon. You got to do something right there, and this is the key.
Yeah. Yep. Morty, yeah, I would want to live that long. I do. I have.
Yes.
I figure I'm only halfway done with the stuff I want to get done. So at 58, 125 feels about right. I want all the other tech to go with it, telomere development and things like that. So I would definitely reverse the clock. I'm so sick of gray hair. You have no idea how.
I absolutely hear you, young man.
2 years ago, I actually dyed my gray in the beard and on the sides. I dyed it blue. It didn't last very long. It only lasted for about 4 days, but I thought that was pretty badass. I like the temporary blue look.
Okay. I'm not going there. I don't even have a tattoo. So hey, and if I did have to get one, like to be on Survivor something, I have to, I probably have a Starfleet Delta right here. That would be it. Just the outline.
Right.
That's all I'd do if I had to do it.
Dallas is like, I want an artificial meniscus. Don't we all?
Don't we all?
Oh,
Well, it was, but the answer, Morty, would you want to live that long? You don't think, like, look, you think you're immortal anyway. You're 28 years old or something like that. You think, you're still young and you feel like you're immortal. And so, wait till you're 58. You're going to have a completely different view of the thing. Now you got kids and they're off to college. Yep. And now you're going, you know what? There's some things I haven't seen yet.
Right.
And some things I haven't done.
Yep. All right. We got 5 minutes. Where do you want to go? We are going to talk next week. We're going to talk about the Space Capital Report. So we should probably pull that out. I'm gonna pull the link up here.
And so, well, there is that last one that clears the slate for me.
Okay, do it. Bring it up.
It's just a book review. It's a book called New Space Capitalism: The Entrepreneurial Path to the Stars, and the author named Rainer Zeidelman presents the idea that private enterprise is the best way for exploration to go forward, pointing out the ways in which public funding, since the days of the moon landing, has been too uneven and insufficient to make advances possible. So for me, he's painfully elucidating the obvious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Stuff that we've been pioneering for 25 years. He's like, but I was in this classroom with 28 teachers. Not one of them knew this was happening. No one in that classroom knew this was happening. So for us, we're super used to it, but for the world, this is all new to them. So if this guy, the author, what's his name, Rainier Zeitman or something, Zeidelman. Yeah. If this guy can make a buck off of what we already know, good for him, right? Good for them.
If he brings in some new fans to the whole program, right, as a result of it, if people who know nothing about it are picking this book up for the first time, hey, some people might pick up that book because they're triggered by it. I don't know. Only rich people can go to space. Oh my God, I got to read this book now.
Right? Yeah.
Whatever it takes to get people, knowledgeable.
I don't reference Zubrin. I don't reference Mars Society's Zubrin very often on this show.
Yeah.
But he came up with an idea about 3 years ago. He did some math. I can't verify his math, but he's like, if you have reusable rockets, there's going to be a time, like with used cars, that you can buy a car or a rocket for cheap. And if you can do that, then there's going to be a market for used rockets, not reusable rockets, but used rockets. Like the price of rocketry is going to come down. And if it comes down far enough, it's going to come down. This is his numbers, not mine. But it would come down to about $50,000 for a family of 4 to emigrate to Mars. That's his number, $50,000 to go to Mars. You could sell your house, you could sell your car, you could sell all your belongings, pack up, put everything in a box and go. And that does not seem far-fetched to me.
And thanks to companies like SpaceX, and they're not the only ones doing it now.
Right.
The reusable rockets, their insurance company will say, okay, you can't reuse this more than 40 times.
Right.
But it may still be usable. It's sitting there. You can buy it for cheap, and you only have to use it once.
Right.
It just needs to fly one more time.
One more time.
Number 41. We're off to Mars. That's it.
People will take that chance. They are definitely going to take that chance. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If I got the rebuilt liver and kidneys, yeah, you bet I'd do it. So it's like, I got another 50 years. Let's go.
Right on. All right. Sean's telling us it's time.
Okay. Oh God, thank all you guys for coming and putting up with us tonight. I think we had a great time. We had some interesting news items, and let's see, what am I going to say? Oh, next week on Monday, our guest will be Dr. Dan Gerritsen.
Cool.
And that's going to be a lot of fun. He's an interesting guy. At 8 p.m. As always, it's at 8 p.m. Eastern. So for Sean Key and Michael Lane, I remain Thomas Andrew Olson. Keep watching the skies.